Hello, everyone, and thank you so much for being a part of my ACLE presentation today. Actually, this journey of ACLE has been like a tremendous learning experience. I have been going back and forth with Judy several times. I have been changing my assessment topic several times. So I think first and foremost, I want to thank Judy because she has been extremely patient with me because my situation is just like the dog in this picture where I had no idea what I'm doing. Um, but I realized that assessment for higher education is important and it is definitely going to bring this cultural shift towards assessment practices in higher ed institutions. My particular topic is more focused on the Jackage Brown College level of strategic plan, which is our goal for uh, community engagement and partnerships. Although this topic doesn't focus on our entire goal, I have chosen one of the objective which has been bothering me for quite some time. Well, it talks about developing a centralized process that will measure, recognize, and support excellence in community engagement, which also involves collaborative research and curricular activities among students, faculty, and staff. Jackage Brown College is a business college, and for any business, community engagement and partnerships, which involves collaborative research, is equally important. Although my topic for today is why develop a centralized process when each department and center in Jackage Brown College can actually have their own unique methods, right? So first and foremost, I want to start by saying what knowledge I gathered when it comes to assessment practices in higher ed institution. So when it comes to my understanding of assessment and community engagement, especially when it comes to higher ed institution, I have realized that it can only be useful and effective when faculty, staff, stakeholders, advisory board members are engaged as a part of community and they work collaboratively. Um, we know that it shouldn't be more of a performance assessment. It should be more like an institutional learning journey because the ultimate purpose of assessing community engagement is to allow universities to identify community engagement activities, help them understand how they perform, and assist them in eventual improvement. So this objective is pretty generic. It demands for a centralized process, as I mentioned earlier. So in order to understand more in detail and to analyze deeply, I thought of developing a program logic model as, you know, in our previous ACLE workshops and seminars, they explained how a program logic model can be useful in monitoring performance, evaluation, as well as analyzing. So I'll be explaining more in detail about it. Now, this program logic model only supports our Jackage Brown College departments and centers. Just to go quickly, Jackage Brown College has several centers. We have Inland Empire Center for Entrepreneurship. We have Cybersecurity Center. We have Institute of Applied Research. We have Student Success Center, and we have several departments like Accounting and Finance, Information and Decision Science, Marketing, and now we also have School of Entrepreneurship. So it is necessary to develop a program logic model to analyze the resources that we have, the activities that we plan on executing, who are our participants, and what are our desired outcomes. So as you can see in the program logic model right here, I have explained with examples. I don't want to go too deep into this, but I'll quickly brief through it. So basically, our inputs are basically the resources for our community engagement. Um, our resources could be our internal and external funding, um, It could be grants and partnerships. It can also be the physical, virtual, and financial resources that we receive, that also supports our curriculum development as well as research. For example, our Inland Empire Center for Entrepreneurship partners with several small businesses in Inland Empire, as well as the Women's Business Center, as well as Small Business Development Center, and it secures funding internally and externally. We have activities to support like the entrepreneurship faculty fellows program. So faculty who are interested in integrating the entrepreneurship and innovation into their discipline through curriculum research. We also have Leonard Transportation Center where pathway through logistics program is integrated, and it's a new project which is in pipeline. Our um, our business college is also uh, has an expertise basically in in short education and short courses for our local startups and small businesses. So these are our inputs and our resources. So as I mentioned earlier, these activities cannot be successfully accomplished if we don't have active participants like the students, faculty, staff, our internal, external stakeholders, our strategic communication team, as well as our advisory board members. Based on my understanding of logic model and based on the desired outcomes that I gathered from our departments and centers, I realized that they do have our intermediate outcomes as well as the long-term outcomes. One of our long-term outcomes are to develop, significant scholarships, and those scholarships that are being made available to the students, especially from the high deprivation backgrounds. We want to actually change or the public sector policies and revise decision papers, so that it accommodates all the institutional needs, as well as it accommodates and significant improvement in financial literacy and adoption technology, as well as provide banking and access to low income families. Um, there are several events that can be generated through it. We have our voluntary income tax assistance program by our accounting and finance department that allows free voluntary income tax to low income families, and it also provides a practical learning experience for students who are in accounting and finance. We have several passport programs. We have resume building and internship placements by our student success centers. So all these small activities basically contributes towards our long-term outcomes. And that's how I have built this program logic model, based on my understanding of of our desired outcomes from our different centers and departments. So what I concluded or what I analyzed, I should say, from my program logic model is that it definitely supports one of our new business standards. So Jack H. Brown College is accredited through association through Advanced Collegiate Schools of Business, which is also called as AACSB. One of our new standards talks about engagement and societal impact. So this objective 100% supports our new business accreditation standards. However, this is what I feel that, as I mentioned earlier, because our departments and centers have their own implementation plan and their outcome measures, which contributes towards excellence in the research and community engagement, I feel like we can change the objective to provide more flexibility towards a decentralized approach rather than a centralized approach. This will help in accommodating the institutional requirements. This will also provide more space for different departments and centers to choose their own activities, as well as to accommodate the needs not just in Jackie Brown College, but also in Inland Empire. So this concludes my presentation. Thank you for being so patient with me throughout this. I'm sure you have questions. So please go ahead and ask me any questions that you like. Once again, thank you so much for being patient with me throughout this ACLI journey, and thank you so much.